All right, so trying to start off, but I guess maybe they don't want me to do this video. Let's see, they got I don't know Saturday, but anyway, this video. Oh, my glasses. Oh, oh, it's like damn. Shouldn't y'all be downtown at the game or something or whatever? Whoever the fuck they playing. But anyway, this one is a little more like serious. I'm gonna have jokes, but not really. It's, but they have facts, as y'all say, facts.
Who cares? Yeah. It's like the first thing. Yeah. But
This one,
it's going to impact every single American. It's called the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, the most sexy title you could ever come up with, right? Essentially, it's going to impact every single American. It's called the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, the most sexy title you could ever come up with, right? Essentially, what it does is create ESG social credit scores for companies. Okay.
Now, I saw a video months ago. I don't have it no more. But they explained why, like, they don't care about the boycotts. Remember Bud Light, the Budweiser Corporate, Anheuser-Busch. At that time, they thought, I guess, these motherfuckers were gonna take over. So they didn't care. Well, that's why, like Disney, all of them, the woke movies that keep flopping, they don't care. They're more these corporate punks are more concerned about this ESG credit score, social credit. They thought I guess these dummies put the eggs in the wrong basket or what's it called? They cast their lot with the wrong people, with the devil. So yeah, I saw that video. I didn't do a video about it, but that's what he's talking about. I saw a video that explained that's why they don't care. Like Budweiser and everybody the boycott, and it tanked them, but they don't care. To them, it's like to them they know what's gonna happen to them. Is what they thinking. And it's going to be like one of those movies where, yeah, it's more about what you say and do. And not, paying your bills or being a good businessman with your corporation, making a good product is, you got to do what these punks say.
So we've talked about this before, and we've talked about the Great Reset and BlackRock and a lot of those kinds of things. These ESG scores are designed to transform the way companies operate, the kinds of products and services that they can sell, and then by extension transform societies around it. So lots of climate change initiatives are in there, biodiversity rules, land and water use, all kinds of social justice.
Oh yeah, like the legal Migos, y'all didn't realize like your bitch ass is trapped now. You trapped over here. You thought, yeah, all the over Venezuela, get all that shit. You thought you was over here balling and acting a fool. Your ass trapped. You gonna be crying for mama pretty soon. I ain't even talking about getting deported.
LGBTQ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How diverse is your board of directors? How diverse is your management team? Like, these are the kinds of things that are in these ESG scores. Well, in the United States, there's no ESG law. There's no social credit scoring law. It's all being imposed by private companies, public-private partnerships between
like BlackRock.
Like BlackRock, exactly.
So, just to clarify, to give people an idea. Target, for example, like one of their majority owners, I think, is BlackRock, and then they've got Vanguard. And these are these huge global entities that champion progressive values for reasons we could probably talk about. Right. They're probably manifold, but a lot of people ask, okay, like, why doesn't Target care more when the customers stand up for something? Well, it's because they care more about what BlackRock tells them to do than what the suburban mom tells them to do. But a question I have for you, and I don't want to derail us, but just because I know this will kind of help people understand what's going on, is that sometimes it does seem like companies respond to customers and it surprises me. For example, last year when it came to Pride Month, a lot of customers raised a big ruckus about what was being sold in these stores. Surprisingly, in response, I guess, to the backlash, this year it was extremely subdued. And even people said, look, I went in June, I didn't see any Pride stuff, and I only saw patriotic stuff for 4th of July. So my question to you, with all this ESG, why do corporations ever respond to what the customers say, especially when they're conservative customers, when, as you've explained, they don't really have a profit incentive to do so?
Yeah. So there's a balancing act that's going on right now. All right. So you have BlackRock and these big asset managers and other big shareholders of these companies that are really interested in moving towards a left-wing society. Okay. But at the same time, they want to make money. So they want to make money too. It's not like BlackRock doesn't want to make money; they do.
Yeah.
And so,
even they have more money than I can even.
They have quantify. More than $10 trillion under assets under management at one point. So I mean, huge amounts of money. So what BlackRock is in those kinds of entities are pushing on companies is they want to move as far to the left as they can without losing money. So the more people find out about these things, the more BlackRock backs off a little bit of their pressure on a company like Target, because they don't want to lose money either. A lot of these policies have actually been in place to varying degrees for a long, long time, but it was only recently that people started understanding what was going on. And so for a long time, they were moving the ball forward very, very slowly, and most people didn't notice it. I think they just thought, Target is moving to the left because the leadership at Target is kind of leans left and society kind of leans left. And it's all just moving in that direction very slowly. But in reality, there was this ESG stuff going on behind the scenes, and it was all just happening very slowly. Then around 2020 with COVID, everything ramped up huge. There was a real concerted effort to transform society quickly. A lot of that was in the wake of Trump. Trump scared a lot of people.
Yeah, the corrupt people, evil people. And what does if it was a real virus that was really dangerous, not just a variant of the flu, what does diversity and transgender have to do with COVID? They had to push it so hard. How is that fighting anything? Why did they? Yeah, this is COVID. Yeah, that's what. You see what I'm saying? That none of that made sense. They just threw it out, but it was psychological warfare.
People in these elite circles who they now, you had 8 years of Barack Obama, and they thought for sure that Hillary Clinton was going to win in 2016, and they thought, okay, this transformation of society can happen kind of slowly, and we're moving in the right direction.
And when you say they,
I mean BlackRock, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, United Nations,
the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab,
absolutely.
George Soros.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when people hear those names, they think, that's just conspiratorial. Those people aren't even real.
Right.
They have real tangible power.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this movement towards ESG has actually slowed a little bit in recent years, at least the front-facing version of it. What they are telling us and what they're doing, the in-your-face kind of stuff, because the backlash was significant when people learned what was going on, and it cost them some money. And once it started costing them some money, BlackRock said, and other similar entities, okay, we need to slow this down a little bit, at least for now, and do more of this stuff behind the scenes. And so actually a lot of corporate policies haven't changed, but the in-your-face stuff, they've backed off a little bit because of how offensive it was to so many people. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to move to the left without making it so offensive that people stop buying the products.
They understand that people can only tolerate so much cultural change, and they're probably afraid if they push too far, then they could start losing people that would otherwise be progressive. I think even Barack Obama realized I can only push so far so fast before everyone starts to recoil. I also think, and I'm not trying to derail us onto the election, but just an example of that, you'll notice that Kamala Harris and the Democrats have not talked about transgenderism at all. They're not championing trans rights. No. ABC didn't bring that up at the presidential debate. That wasn't a part of the DNC. No. That's not a part of any of the ads. They'll use like the old school like rainbow flag, but they won't use the trans flag. Yep. They know, even though they are gearing to push it, they have pushed it this administration, they will continue to weaponize the government to, shove this down people's throats. They don't publicly talk about that in an election year because it's too much too fast, even for moderates.
Yeah, that was the biggest mistake that Donald Trump made in the debate, was not bringing it up.
Yeah.
Why didn't he ask her flat out, Kamala Harris, what do you think about biological men participating in...
I think the reason is, like I said, he's playing chess. And like it's like, that is just ridiculous. The whole thing, I think maybe he thinks like what? Like I'm thinking, why aren't there no biological women trying to play against men? It's only one way. So it's like they basically don't even have a conversation about it. Don't even, that's what I just said. That's what I've been, don't talk. Why even talk, don't, if they try to complain, what are you talking about? See what I'm saying? That's what I would, what do you know? We got to take it. No, we're not even taking it to the Supreme. That's absurd, ludicrous. There's no reason to even waste the court's time on this. If anything, you just got to have 4 categories. The traditional 2, girls against girls, guys against guys. A 3rd category, trans guys. Another category, trans women. They all compete against each other. That's it. If anything, it's just more, basically that. We got to watch, that now used to take 3 hours. The track meet going to take, I don't know, because it probably maybe wouldn't take that long because the other categories ain't going to be too many competitors. So that's all. So if you're a male athlete and you just want to, you think that's how you are, you want to come out, then you got to compete against other guys who want to do that. Otherwise, you just got to compete with the guys. And in your off time, nobody said you got to hide it. As soon as you run, that's what we don't care. So as soon as you run, whether you win, lose, you get on the podium. You go take it to the locker room, take a shower, and put on your dress. But you competed against the guys. How hard is that?
Girl sports. Like, what do you think of that?
It's a distraction. Yeah, like, that's it. But no, there's no argument. Just stay out of sports. All right? Plain and simple. You don't want to be an athlete. Because like I said, why aren't there no females who think they're Chaz Bono, who think they're a guy? And we know like an Ellen DeGeneres, she thinks she's a guy. Then why aren't they trying to compete against guys? Like, no, we don't. Not, what's that girl, Megan Rapinoe, the soccer player they replaced Victoria's? Yeah, why didn't she want to play on the guys' soccer team? I want to be on the guys' soccer team. No, not no female soccer league, female. No, she should have. I want to play against Ronaldo or whatever them guys' name, or the WNBA. No, we want to play against LeBron James. I want to not an all-female team. I want to be on the Lakers. Not a female. I want to be on the Lakers. Why ain't she fighting to be? So people, they try to be funny when I brought that up. Oh, well, the WNBA's all got no, bitch. I'm not being funny. If you supposed, I talked to somebody supposed to be a conservative. It's like, no, this is what I'm talking about. This is war. They're trying to use. This is a tactic. It's not even. I'm not mad about the trans audience and that. It's just a tactic. And your dumb ass. It's like, I'm your leader. Seriously. Oh well, get over it. Get over what I just said. You're not catching on, dumb ass. Yeah, I would slap the shit. It's a trick. So don't make us sit there and make a fucking joke when I bring up why aren't the Lisa lesbians, she don't play no more. Oh, but whatever. That's not about the only one we know. But Why the rest of them they don't want to play on the Lakers or the New York Knicks? Not no female version, New York Liberty. No, the Knicks, and play against the Chicago Bulls with your teammates. Why ain't they fighting, tearing down shit, protesting to do that? And why ain't there females who want to play football, American football? We not the LFL, the lingerie football league. No, they want to play on the what is it? What's the team here? The Panthers or the New York Jets? Yeah, the Giants or the San Francisco 49ers. Why aren't there females who want to fighting and protesting to play on the San Francisco 49ers or the Green Bay Packers? Play on them, on the team, not just ride the bench or a kicker, a place kicker. There, why the fuck aren't they doing this? So that's what it says. That's the whole thing is absurd to even talk about. Don't even talk about it. Don't even waste time. Like, no, get out of here. Just get rid of. You ain't gotta sign no bills. Just don't do it no more. And if you do it, you're getting arrested for assault. If you're a guy like the girl who's a guy, the trans on the volleyball team, arrest his ass for fucking assault. If you step on there, you're getting arrested. Plain and simple. You don't need no laws.
Because she has to say yes,
of course,
or ignore it.
Yeah.
But she can't go against the base of her party and not bringing that up. Yeah, I totally agree. So this law that happened in the European Union, they finally passed it. It took them years to put it together. They passed it in May of this year, 2024. And unlike
that's what I'm getting tired of, like all of y'all who try to talk about it. And it's like, why are we talking about it? And try to make you see, they got the microphones. Yeah, why are the trans? Why didn't Trump talk about it? It's like, no, see, y'all are the problem. Y'all are a big part of the problem talking about this shit.
This law in 2024, and they said it applies to large companies that
see, this is the important stuff, not the trend. They explained it what the European Union is doing
by the government. So the European Union is codified these social credit scores for companies. Okay, so this is being driven. Passed it in May of this year, 2024, and unlike the ESG policies that we've been talking about,
of course,
or ignore it.
Yeah.
But she can't go against the base of her party and not bringing that up. Yeah. Why didn't he ask her flat out, Kamala Harris? What do you think about biological men?
I mean, and see, that's like more, like I said, the reason that it's like a distraction, trying to play games. Trump ain't about games. What about the men? The men is like just. It shouldn't be if you step on that field or you jump in that pool against them girls, you getting arrested as a pervert or something, some kind of exactly. What's it called? Any kind of yeah. But I'm a high school. No. You get in that water, you're going to jail.
And participating in girls' sports, what do you think of that? Are you in favor of that or not? Because she has to say yes,
of course,
or ignore it.
Yeah.
But she can't go against the base of her party and not bringing that up.
Yeah, the Leah Thompson dude. Is in college. Why aren't there no girls in college? I want to race against the men. No, I know I can beat them. Like Ronda Rousey was the only one to, crazy enough to say that, but she never did it, right? Yeah, I don't think Ronda Rousey, a lesbian, but she just was delusional. Maybe had brain damage.
I totally agree. So, this law that happened in the European Union, they finally passed it. It took them years to put it together. They passed it in May of this year, 2024. And unlike the ESG policies that we've been talking about so far, which are driven by the private sector, this is being driven by the government. So the European Union is codified these social credit scores for companies. Okay, so they came up with their own left-wing ideas and values, and they passed this law in 2024, and they said it applies to large companies that are based in the European Union or non-EU companies, large non-EU companies that do above a certain amount of revenue in the European Union. So, for example, Apple or McDonald's or companies like that, if they surpass this threshold of revenue, which is 489 billion or $1 million, then they have to adhere to these ESG rules as well. What's really important about this is they don't have to adhere to the ESG rules only in the European Union. It has to be everywhere. So it's not enough for McDonald's or for Apple or for Meta or for Microsoft or for Google or for, and I could name a million other companies that this will apply to. It's not enough for them to change their policies in the EU. They have to change it in America. They have to change it everywhere they do business. That's what the law says. And if they don't, then they can be fined 5% of their total worldwide revenue. So for a company like Apple, if you do the math, that's $19 billion.
I mean, this is like a movie. This is like the start of World War III. They tried this is like you have no choice but to go to war with these clowns. Or Trump must have a way. He's a businessman. I bet he knows he's gonna this shit ain't gonna last.
Wow.
For one violation.
Wow.
So no one's going to violate this law because they can't afford to violate this law.
Gosh.
Okay? So it embeds all kinds of crazy left-wing things about climate change, social justice, all the stuff you would imagine would be in there is in there. But what makes it even crazier than that is that one of the requirements for these large companies that are covered under this law is that they have to impose it on all of the, not all, but almost all of the businesses that they work with in their supply chains upstream and downstream, no matter where they're located or how much business those companies do in the EU. So, for example, Ford would be covered under this law. Ford is a car company, sells cars in the EU above the threshold, so they have to adhere to it. They also have to make sure, Ford does, that all the businesses that they do business with in America are also doing these ESG scores. So you could be a rubber manufacturer.
Exactly. You could be in bumfuck Iowa working at a rubber plant or wherever or making seat parts, a plastic plant, and you're gonna have to apply to these rules that governs the EU, because your company makes a little plastic piece that goes into a Ford.
In Ohio that does no business in Europe, but you make rubber for Ford, you also have to adhere to the EU rule. And Ford is going to be the one that imposes it on you through contractual assurances and other stuff. So if Ford doesn't do that, then Ford gets fined 5% of their total worldwide revenue. So obviously they're going to do this. So when you start playing out the ramifications of this, they're enormous. We're talking about, if you're a potato farmer who sells potatoes to McDonald's in Idaho, you now have to adhere to these left-wing ESG rules, even though you don't do any business in the EU at all. If you're a truck driver that just transports products for any of these companies, if you're a farmer that sells food, that sells cabbage to any of these companies, if you just do one little tiny piece of the component, or you do the marketing for one of these companies, or you do software services for one of these companies, you will have to adhere to these ESG rules too.
Yeah.
And through this, you can transform the entire country, because you can transform hiring practices, business practices, the kinds of products that people sell and buy, the commitment to social justice goals generally. And none of this comes from an American law. It's all from this EU law.
Quick pause to tell you about our first sponsor for the day. It's Adele Natural Cosmetics. They are a family-run, holistic mouth, my skin. I wanted product cosmetics.com. What's the end goal? Like, what kind? I know we've answered this before, but a lot of people are listening to this kind of conversation for the first time. Like, what is the picture of the world that they think that they are painting through this? Because obviously they think they're doing the righteous thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, they don't. See, that's another thing I keep saying. That's your problem. Everybody got to admit they don't think they're doing the right thing. It's not. They're misguided. They got big hearts. These motherfuckers are evil. Hitler reincarnated. That's why, like they say, they told their puppets. Remember last week, the whole Trump is Hitler? They're the ones who were Hitler. They figured, yeah, oh, okay, so you Americans think y'all gonna this and that, and it's like, you know what, fuck it, Dan. If I never got to visit Italy, and it looks like I might not be able to go because these crazy motherfuckers, not because I don't have the money, it's like I just, like I said, you're not finna get my money, the European Union, fly over. I wanted to go, but I guess I can't go, you know, unless something changes.
So there's a couple of factors at play. One of them is financial. So in the European Union, a lot of these things that they're trying to impose are already the law. So when they created this law, the idea was not to make EU companies do these things. EU companies are already forced to do these things in many cases. Europe is much further to the left than the United States in many ways. Not in all ways, but in many ways. What the problem that Europe has is they have to compete with everybody else who doesn't have to do all of this stuff, right? So they have these climate transition plans and laws and all the stuff that we don't have in the United States. They have all these taxes and things that we don't have in the United States. And so the companies that we have here are at a competitive advantage over the companies based in the EU. But not under
It's like, y'all, they did it to themselves then. Just remove all those restrictions. But see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. This is not because they have big hearts and want to save everything and everybody and the animals and the environment. They're evil. They just don't want you living a good life. Plain and simple. That's all it is.
this. They're essentially saying if you want to do any business at all in the EU, then you got to make sure that you are adhering to our rules and that everyone you do business with is adhering to our rules. And what that effectively does is make the world comply with all these costly EU regulations.
Yeah.
So they're imposing this crazy amount of costs on all these companies all over the world to make it easier for the EU-based companies to compete with them. So it's kind of like a trade war almost. It's a really backwards way of doing it, I guess, and a secret way of doing it.
That's what everybody Trump was talking about. The trade wars and the tariffs. He's going, okay, well, he's going to show you. And we got the infrastructure already. We can build. And so that's why it's so important. And so for all y'all niggas who thinking about this and that and anger, you need to get on our side. We keep telling you. And if you up there talking about your son got football practice, and you don't care about your son if you voting for Kamala. Because if he in school right now, he's going to be a slave in the future. But I believe that right there. And then I do the rest in the morning. I got stuff to do.